Today I am building one of you lucky viewers a gaming PC. I bought all these parts on Cyber Monday. Actually, it was the day before Cyber Monday, so kind of in between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I got a lot of good deals on it. It's not using current gen hardware. You usually don't see a lot of good Black Friday deals on the new stuff, but this is still a very high-end gaming PC that I think anyone would feel lucky to win. So go ahead and enter that. I'll put a link in the description below, along with all the other giveaways that are going on right now. Paul and I are hosting a number of giveaways in honor of our charity live stream that already happened last Saturday, which by the way was a huge success. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, donated. You guys helped us raise over $50,000 for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, which is insane. And you can still donate, by the way. The Extra Life donation page is still running, so if you're feeling extra generous this year and you have the means to spare, any contribution to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles would mean a lot. And make sure to enter all those giveaways. There's like graphics cards, full systems, and there's actually both US and Canada only, as well as international prizes. And best of luck to all of you. With that said, I'm gonna start building this giveaway system, and hopefully it turns out all right. I do have a few questionable products here that were just too good of a sale to pass up, but like items that I've never used or brands that I've never worked with before, like this memory kit, Owl RGB from Oloy, or should we say oh boy, because nah, that was stupid.
Before we continue, thanks to Jawa for sponsoring today's video. Earlier this year, I made a video where I built a gaming PC with secondhand parts that I bought on Jawa.gg. As my first time using the site, I was pleasantly surprised by the user experience, the seller's reliability, and how much money I was able to save on hardware. Jawa is a no-frills marketplace for gamers to buy and sell their gear. You can find full custom builds, individual components, and peripherals from real gamers listing some truly spectacular deals. If you're not sure where to start with Jawa's abundant hardware options, their Gamer Gift Guide offers a curated list of their site's best deals in hardware to make your holiday shopping a bit easier this year. One of the coolest things that sets Jawa apart is that they work directly with tech experts and creators to design builds based on your interests. For example, COD fans might fancy this Warzone 2.0 ready build from boutique builder Mountain Man PCs, which features a Ryzen 7 3700X and RTX 2070 Super for just $900. If you've been itching to upgrade your keyboard, they also have refurbished Glorious keyboards for about $50. Or this custom keyboard with hand-lubed Fantasy Diva switches for just $100, which is an insanely good deal for this type of custom board. I often make the conscious effort to support small and community-driven businesses like Jawa, especially when they sincerely support the efforts of small builders and boutique sellers in our industry, while giving all of us a break on our spending. Right now, first-time Jawa builders can use code BITWIT.TECH for 10% off their first purchase up to $50. So click the link below to start browsing great hardware deals today.
Okay, I don't think I mentioned the price yet. This was about $1,300, just north of $1,300 for everything in this build, which is fantastic. Once you see the graphics card, well, I'll just tell you, I got an RTX 3080 in here. And when you consider that an RTX 3080 wasn't going for anything less than $1,300, just for the card itself, up until, what, like Q2 of this year, I mean, it really puts things in perspective how much GPU prices have come down, how inflated they were for so long, and just what an awesome deal I got on all these parts. The motherboard is the MSI Gaming Gen 3. It's a B550 board, so like I said, we're using last gen hardware, Ryzen 5000 series, and it is a Gen 3 board. So we're not gonna be able to leverage Gen 4 on the RTX 3080, which is kind of a bummer, but based on the amount of money that we saved on this build, on all these parts, I think that small performance hit is well worth it in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna use the box as a mod mat, because I forgot to pull the mod mat out. This is a fairly mid-range board. It doesn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles. There's no RGB and things like that, but I think I/O and connectivity is pretty solid. The VRM is decent. We've got 4 DIMM slots, and for what, $110 that I paid for it, just a killer deal, honestly. We have a Ryzen 7 5700X. I wanted to get the 5700X 3D, because it's the faster of the two, but this was on sale for like $210. Still a really good chip. 8 cores, 16 threads. There's nothing like a brand new CPU. It's got that clean IHS, hasn't been defiled by thermal paste yet. It's about to be though, about to get sticky in here. Okay, CPU installed. Let's go ahead and, oh, you know what? I'm curious. This is the cooler that I got, the John's Bow. This is another questionable part that I'm like, I've never worked with this brand before. I think I've used a John's Bro, no, I keep wanting to say John's Bro. I think I've used one of their mice before, but never a cooler, never a PC component. Wasn't even really aware that they made them, but we have an air cooler here, just a single tower design with one fan on the side. This is a CR1000. Let's see how this mounts. I have to figure out if we're gonna have to remove those AMD mounting brackets. And it is an RGB fan. I feel like this build is going to be an accidentally RGB build. I didn't plan it that way, but it just so happened that a lot of the good deals that I found were on products that have RGB. Okay, we're not using the brackets. Please remove before installation. Seems obvious, but I have actually made the mistake of leaving one of these on. Did not end well. Okay, I believe this is our AM4 mounting hardware. Actually, it looks like a pretty straightforward mounting system, which I'm happy about. You never know what you're gonna get with these kind of, I don't wanna say knockoff coolers, these kind of like more generic, obscure brand name coolers. Sometimes the mounting system is just horrible. This one actually looks all right. Who needs an LTT screwdriver when you have this thing? I'm joking, this thing sucks. Okay, I think, is it really that simple? Do I just screw it down now? Yeah, I think I do. Where is the, oh, okay, this is the thermal paste. Wow, it came in a packet. I guess that means we're in budget cooler territory. It comes in a packet. Well, that's a lot. Probably a little too much. It's not too bad, I guess. This could have been executed better on my part. I think it'll be fine. Okay, cooler seems installed. Fan went on easy. Connect said fan and cooler installed. Memory. This is our semi-sketchy, semi-questionable DRAM kit. This is DDR4. We've got 32 gigs here. 3600 speed. Again, it's the Oloy, or I don't know how to pronounce that. Oloy, doesn't matter. Owl RGB 2x16. I completely forget what these look like. Are they hideous? They're gonna be hideous. Oh, they're not actually that bad. Okay, I was expecting a lot worse. Question is, how does the RGB look? Is it just a bunch of LED hotspots? I'm not expecting miracles. But honestly, 32 gigs at DDR4 3600 for 50 bucks is pretty darn good. All right, cool. And it clears our CPU cooler just fine. I was a little bit worried at first that the modules might interfere with the fan or something, but we got plenty of clearance. Moving on to the SSD, which is the Team Group MP33. It's a PCIe Gen 3 by 4 SSD. Again, we only have Gen 3 supported on this board anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference. 1 terabyte, I think I got this for 80 bucks. Definitely not bad for an NVMe M.2 drive. Let's go ahead and relocate this standoff. Why do they put the standoffs all the way over here? They know that this is gonna be a 2280 drive, not whatever the hell this is. All right, we're good. Motherboard has been prepped. We're ready for case. The chassis is the Roswell Prism S500, which I had never heard of before I actually purchased it. So I have no idea if this is good, if it's awful. It was on sale for $50. I don't know what the original price is, but I'm not expecting miracles for that price point. But again, this is really all about getting the best deals. And I think I did see a few reviews on it, and they seem fairly positive. Roswell actually made some pretty decent cases back in the day when it was at its peak. Like the Thor, was a Roswell Thor. They had some pretty decent cases, but they kind of fell off. It seems like they're doing mostly mid-range or budget options now, which is fine. I just hope this one doesn't suck. It's actually heavier than I thought it would be, which is a good sign. Lots of metal. That's actually not a bad looking case. It gets all of its intake from the bottom. So before you judge it from its front panel, its closed off front panel, it does have 3 120 millimeter fans pre-installed at the bottom of the case. There's also a fan at the back that's pre-installed as an exhaust, kind of going with that, like that O11D rip-off vibe. I shouldn't say rip-off, because there are plenty of cases that did side ventilation before the O11D, but you have side ventilation here as well. You can install, looks like 2 more 120 millimeter fans on the side. So actually good potential for decent air cooling. Okay, it's time to insert a motherboard inside of you. I'm glad no one's ever said that to me. Okay, let's pop on the IO shield first. You would not believe how many times I've installed a motherboard and forgotten the IO shield. Because all the most of the motherboards, unless you're going with something more mid-range or entry level, most of the IO shields are pre-installed on the boards these days. So I've completely forgotten many times. That's not the case for all boards necessarily. Drop her in here. Thank you, Roswell, for pre-installed standoffs. Another thing that I wasn't 100% expecting in this case, given the price range, and actually grommeted cutouts. It's also a nice touch. Okay, now you all get to watch me engage in some quick screwing. Oh wow, the CPU cooler. It's gonna fit, right? Oh my gosh, is it too tall? Oh boy, did I make a boo-boo? Oh, thank God. We got like 2 millimeters. Okay, a little bit more than 2 millimeters. I would say maybe 3. I'd say we're 3 millimeters shy of running into a huge issue of the CPU cooler tower hitting the glass, but we're good. Oh, thank God. That was a little too close for comfort. Our power supply is the Thermaltake Smart VM2 750 watt. It is partially modular, semi-modular, with 80 plus bronze certification. It's a fairly budget unit, but plenty of wattage for our needs. 80 plus bronze is perfectly fine by me. We're gonna go ahead and wire up the cables that we need, just the cables that we need. And of course, I will be, whoever wins this thing, I'll also be including the rest of the accessories, the necessary accessories, like the rest of the PSU cables, mounting bracket for the Intel socket on the CPU cooler and things like that. And in this particular case, the power supply mounts to the top. And it looks like ventilation has to be right here facing the motherboard. So we're gonna have to face the fan that way. Plenty of room for extra cables up here. Honestly, there's like so much room. I feel like they could have utilized the space better with like more hard drive space, because there's only one 3.5-inch tray. But then again, it's a fairly budget case, so I can't complain too much. Cable management actually doesn't look too bad. We've got, like I said, those grommeted cutouts, and there's plenty of them. There's 3 right here, 2 more right here, but these are just regular cutouts. There's 3 more at the top. Plenty of different ways to route your cables. And then there's also a number of tie-down points. 2 SSD mounts right here, the thumb screws for toolless removal. Looks like we have a fan hub as well. All right, I'm gonna tackle some cable management, and then we'll wrap things up with the graphics card. And the graphics card for this build is the MSI Gaming Z Trio RTX 3080, woohoo! Which I picked up for about $750, which is probably less than half of what some people paid for this thing a year ago. I'm pretty happy with that purchase. This is a good card. It's quiet, fairly cool. Still, the 3080 is very fast. We've seen 1,000 benchmarks and gameplay demos by now. This thing will absolutely crush it in 1080, 1440, even 4K. Can do some pretty decent 4K gaming as well. Nothing compared to the newer 4090. Thing's an absolute beast, but it's also $1,600 MSRP. And actually, I think it looks pretty good in this build. I feel like the aesthetic of the card matches everything nicely. And the final touch, some sleeved cable extensions from Asia Horse. These were not on sale. I just bought these at full price, about 30 bucks. This is the kit that includes 3 8-pin plugs, or 3 8-pin extensions for the 30 series cards and other cards that have 3 8-pin connectors on them. I could train these a little bit better, but for the most part, build complete. Let's see how it looks when it's turned on. Let's see if it actually turns on. All right, moment of truth. Does it boot? Yes. Yes, it does. The RAM's not light. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Hey, look at that. It works. It actually looks pretty good. And the memory modules are lighting up pretty nice too. I was worried that there'd be some hot spots, as I mentioned earlier, but it's actually really clean looking. The RGB fans, you can definitely tell they're a bit more on the budget side. They're quite audible. They're not noisy, but they're certainly no knock to us, obviously. If you look at the price difference, that tracks. The final result is actually pretty clean. All the parts are meshing really nicely together aesthetically, and has sort of a cohesive look. There's definitely air being moved by the fans, and I'm sure with the fan curve you can get them a little bit quieter. Cable management was surprisingly good for being a $50 case, although one complaint that I have is that there's no cutout near the 8-pin EPS connector on the motherboard. In the top left corner, the nearest one is actually on the right corner of the motherboard, so I had to route the extension all the way across the motherboard. It's kind of wedged up there at the top, so you don't really see it all that much, but it would have been nice if there was one just a bit closer to make the routing a bit tidier. But having said that, the system is now ready for Windows and driver installation, so I'll go ahead and do that, get it all prepped for whoever wins this thing, which could be one of you watching right now. Exciting. So again, guys, make sure to enter this giveaway along with all the other giveaways that Paul and I are currently hosting. I'll put links to all those in the description below. And once more, if you have anything to spare and you'd like to donate to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, I will put a link for that down below as well. Till next time, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Happy holidays to all of you, and I will see y'all in the next one.